It had been 1 year since the mud, since the splash, the shame, and the stranger who changed everything. Emma Davis had risen from silence to success. She was no longer just the cleaner, but a hospitality student by day and a respected VIP staff member by night. People now spoke her name with admiration, not pity. But just as peace began to settle, the past came knocking. With angry eyes and unfinished business, on a breezy Wednesday morning, Emma stood in her kitchen, humming softly as she packed Olivia's school lunch. Her little sister, now in Basic 4, danced barefoot to the music playing from an old radio. "Toast or pancakes?" Emma asked, waving a spatula. "Toast!" Olivia cheered. "I have to read a poem today. I want toast energy." Emma smiled and kissed her forehead. "Toast energy it is." They laughed, just like every other morning in their small apartment. Modest, but full of peace. The kind of peace Emma had prayed for. Meanwhile, across the city, a pair of tired, angry eyes stared at a printed photo on a worn-out table. A photo from the newspaper. The headline read, "From Mud to Bloom, Billionaire's Muse Shares Her Journey." The man holding it had a torn shirt, a scar over one eyebrow, and shaking fingers. James Davis, her father. He hadn't come when her mother was sick. He hadn't come when she died. He hadn't come when his daughter begged for help. But now he had seen the paper. And the paper said she was dating a billionaire. He crumpled the page and stood up. "So, my little girl thinks she doesn't need her father anymore," he muttered, pacing the room. Let's see if money taught her manners. He grabbed his jacket and left, slamming the door behind him. Back in her apartment, Emma gave Olivia a goodbye hug. "Go show them what toast energy can do," she whispered. Olivia giggled and ran off. Emma turned back inside, unaware that this peaceful morning would be her last for a while, because outside, walking slowly, watching her door, was the man she never wanted to see again. The storm was coming, and it carried her past on its shoulders. The day was long but peaceful. Emma finished her hotel shift with ease. The guests smiled at her. Her supervisor nodded in quiet approval. Even the flower vendor by the lobby handed her a rose. Just because, Emma walked home with a smile and light steps. Her day had been good. The sun was setting, and the breeze felt soft on her skin. But then she saw him, standing by the gate of her apartment building, leaning against a rusty pole like he belonged there. Her heart stopped. His hair was thinner. His face looked older. But those eyes, the cold, sharp ones, she could never forget. "Emma?" the man said with a half-smile. "It's really you." Emma froze, then slowly gripped the strap of her bag. "What are you doing here?" James Davis took a step forward. "I came to see my daughters." Emma didn't move. Her voice was cold. "I don't have a father." He flinched, then gave a short, dry laugh. "So that's how you speak to your own father now?" "You're not my father," she said. "You gave up that right." He waved her off. "Come on. Family is family. I heard you're doing well now. Dating a billionaire, getting awards, showing up in magazines. That's big. You should be proud. Don't call me family." Her voice shook. "When Mum was sick, I called you every night. You never picked up. She died with a broken heart." James looked down, but she didn't stop. "She believed in you. Even when we ate soaked Gary for dinner, she'd say, 'Your father will come back.' And I hated her for that, because you never did." His face hardened. "After she died, I had no time to cry. I had to take care of Olivia. I worked so hard my fingers bled. She didn't know her dad, only me. And I promised myself she'd never feel abandoned like I did." He clenched his jaw. "So now you think you're better than me?" Emma's voice dropped. "I don't think about you at all. You're just a ghost from my past." His eyes flashed. "You think just because you're with a rich man, you're untouchable now. Don't forget who gave you life." She stepped back, calm but sharp. "You didn't give me life. You gave me scars. and I'm done living with them. Just then, a strong hand rested on Emma's shoulder. "Ethan!" He stood behind Emma, calm but firm. "Is there a problem here?" Ethan asked. James barked. "This is family business." Emma stepped in. "No. Family is someone who stays. You left." James stepped forward again, but Ethan didn't move. His voice was low but powerful. "Walk away." James looked at Ethan, then at Emma. His eyes burned with anger. "This isn't over," he muttered. Then he turned and stormed off. Emma stood there, shaking slightly, her heart racing. Ethan gently held her hand. "Are you okay?" She gave a small nod, but deep down she knew he would come back, and next time he wouldn't come alone. Outside a rundown bar, James Davis lit a cigarette, rage tightening every line on his face. He felt humiliated. First, his own daughter had thrown his past in his face, and now some shiny rich man had the nerve to protect her like she was royalty. But James wasn't a fool. He knew how the world worked. Respect wasn't given. It was taken. And if Emma wanted to pretend she was above him now, he'd remind her. Mud always finds its way back to the surface. That night he made a call, not to an old friend, to an old enemy. Vanessa Johnson sat in the VIP lounge of a rooftop bar, sipping from a crystal flute, while ignoring the stares from half the room. She had been laying low ever since her mud splash scandal went viral last year. It had almost cost her everything. Brand deals, her father's trust, her social standing, and all because of Emma Davis. She scrolled through her phone, pausing on a headline. Cleaner turned star student. Emma Davis shines at hospitality gala. Her lips curled. "She's still riding that wave," she muttered. Then a message popped up. "Unknown number. You hate her. I want her gone. Let's talk." Vanessa's eyebrows lifted. She typed, "Who is this?" "Reply her father." Her fingers hovered for a moment. Then she smiled. The next day, at a quiet corner of the city, James and Vanessa met. He looked rough. She looked flawless. But her smile was sharp. "You must be desperate," she said, sipping her coffee. "You know who I am and still called me." "I don't need friends," James growled. "I need people who want Emma out of the picture." Vanessa raised an eyebrow. "Why now?" He leaned forward. "Because she rejected me like I was dirt, and that billionaire, Ethan, thinks he can erase me. I want her to know what it feels like, to be left with nothing." Vanessa studied him for a moment. Then she smirked. "You're in luck," she said. "I've been waiting for the perfect excuse to ruin her." He narrowed his eyes. "So what's your plan?" Vanessa leaned in. "Simple," she whispered. "We don't touch her. We touch her reputation, her name, her peace. We make her think the world that lifted her is about to throw her back down." James grinned. And just like that, two broken storms joined forces, ready to make the girl who bloomed from mud wilt again. The ballroom sparkled like a dream. Emma stood near the grand staircase of Crownville Towers, wearing a soft peach dress that swayed gently around her ankles. Her hair was pulled into a simple bun, and her smile was calm, grateful, not showy. The event was in her honor, a fundraiser celebrating rising stars in hospitality. And tonight Emma Davis was the face of the future. Ethan stood beside her, holding a single red rose. "For you," he whispered. Emma's cheeks flushed. She took the flower with both hands and looked at him with quiet wonder. "You always know how to make a moment feel like a story," he smiled. "You are a story, one that's just getting started." Flashbulbs clicked as a few journalists snapped photos. Bloggers whispered, "Is that her? The cleaner who became a hospitality scholar?" "She's beautiful." Ethan Cole's got taste. For once, Emma didn't feel out of place in a rich room. She had earned her presence. But while the city clapped, someone was already plotting the next chapter. The very next morning, as Emma stood at a roadside stall picking plantains for Olivia's lunch, her phone buzzed, again and again. Dozens of messages, missed calls, news alerts. She unlocked the screen and froze. Headline: Cleaner's father speaks. My daughter cut me off after I raised her. Subheadline: Emma Davis's billionaire fairy tale isn't what it seems. A photo of James Davis appeared, sitting in a cafe, his face sad and wounded. Beneath it, a quote: She changed. Money changed her. I was there before the fame, but now I'm nothing to her. Emma's breath caught. The world around her blurred. More messages poured in. Emma is trending. Do you have a statement? Did you really abandon your own father? Her hands shook. The bag of plantains slipped from her fingers and hit the ground. She turned and walked away, fast, fighting the tears stinging her eyes. At his downtown office, Ethan slammed his tablet down on the desk. Who approved this story? He barked. His assistant flinched. It was a blogger. Unverified source. It spread overnight. Find out who paid him. Ethan snapped. Now. Meanwhile, in a high-rise apartment, Vanessa smirked as she poured herself a drink. Let the fall begin, she whispered. James stood near the window, arms crossed. That's just the first hit. Vanessa turned to him. Trust me. Her real pain hasn't even started. Back in her apartment, Emma sat on the floor in silence, the weight of it all pressing down. Her phone buzzed again. This time, just one message. From Ethan. I'm here. I believe you. And we're going to fight this. Together. Emma closed her eyes as tears slid down her cheeks. She had bloomed once, but now the mud was rising again. And this time, it was personal. The storm didn't pass. It spread. By morning, the story had leapt from gossip blogs to mainstream headlines. Emma's name was now tied to ungrateful daughter, the truth behind Emma Davis. From rags to riches, but at what cost? Worst of all, they used her photos from the gala, smiling, holding Ethan's hand, clutching the rose, now twisted to look like a performance. Inside Cole Estates' headquarters, tension thickened the air. A long conference table stretched across the room. Around it sat board members, investors, and executives in tailored suits. Ethan stood at the head, face calm but unreadable. Her past has nothing to do with our business, he said firmly. One older man cleared his throat. With all due respect, Ethan, we're not just protecting stock. We're protecting image. Your image, another woman added. She's linked to you in every article. This affects perception. A third chimed in. Our luxury brand is built on exclusivity. Cleaners, scandals, family drama. It doesn't sell elegance. Ethan's jaw tightened. Are you suggesting I walk away from her to satisfy optics? Silence. Then a sigh. We're suggesting caution. Later that evening, Ethan sat alone in his office, staring out the window. He didn't care about status. But he knew how easily public pressure could shift power. He had worked hard to build Cole Estates. He didn't want Emma to be caught in the crossfire of the world he belonged to. His assistant walked in quietly. Sir, the source of the blog leak was traced. Ethan turned. It came from a burner account, funded by Vanessa Johnson. Ethan's eyes narrowed. Of course. And James Davis was seen meeting her 2 days ago. A cold anger rose in Ethan's chest. They weren't just attacking Emma's name. They were building a war around it. Rain tapped softly against the windows as Emma folded Olivia's laundry, trying to ignore the ache in her chest. Her phone had stopped ringing. But not because the storm was over. Because people had moved on, to whisper behind her back instead. She thought of the blog posts, the boardroom whispers, the way one man, her own father, could smear everything she had fought so hard to build. She tucked the last of Olivia's socks into the drawer and reached for her school bag to clean it out. As she unzipped the side pocket, a folded letter fell to the floor. Her heart stilled as she picked it up. Cedarville School. Parental notice. Dear parent guardian, we regret to inform you that Olivia Davis has been facing verbal bullying from a few pupils regarding her sister's recent media attention. We are taking steps to resolve the matter, but we recommend a brief meeting with the class teacher. Emma's hands shook. She pressed the paper to her chest and closed her eyes. Not Olivia. Not her little sister. The one she protected like a lioness. the one she shielded from pain by carrying all of it on her own back. She sat down, staring at the paper until the words blurred. Then, like a ghost, she rose and walked out into the night. An hour later, she sat across from Ethan at a quiet restaurant. He took one look at her face and knew. "What happened?" he asked gently. Emma passed him the letter. Her voice cracked. "She's being bullied. Because of me." He read it in silence. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. "Emma," he said softly, "this is not your fault. You've carried the world. Let me carry this with you." Tears welled in her eyes. "I just wanted her to have a normal life." Ethan leaned in closer. "She will. I promise." They sat there for a moment, hands locked, while the world outside spun with noise. Inside, a quiet bond held them steady. Vanessa sat in her high-rise apartment, scrolling through her phone with a glass of wine in hand. Her lips curled as she read the latest comments about Emma online. "She's falling apart," she whispered, pleased. The headlines, the gossip, the judgment. It was all going exactly as planned. She stood and walked to the window, city lights glowing beneath her. "Perfect," she murmured. "Now let's see how far she falls." It was a Thursday afternoon, hot, dusty, and too quiet. Emma had left work early to pick Olivia from school. She didn't want her sister walking home alone anymore, not after that letter. Her heart had not rested since. She stood beneath the mango tree just outside the school gate, her arms crossed, her eyes scanning every face. Then she saw her. Olivia came skipping toward her, smiling wide. "Emmy!" Emma bent down, arms open. Olivia ran into them. "Did anyone bother you today?" Emma whispered. "Nope, I just ignored them like you said." Emma kissed her forehead. "That's my brave girl." But just as they turned to walk home, a voice rang out behind them. "Emma!" Her heart dropped. She turned. James Davis stood by the school fence, holding a small pink gift bag. "What are you doing here?" she asked, stepping protectively in front of Olivia. "I came to see my daughter." Emma's face hardened. "She's not your anything." James took a step forward. "She's my blood." Emma's voice rose. "You don't get to show up at her school like this. You think a toy makes up for the years you abandoned us? I'm trying to reconnect," he shouted, anger rising. "Why are you poisoning her against me?" Olivia clung to Emma's dress, confused and scared. "You are the poison!" Emma spat. "You only came back when you thought I had something to offer." James's hand tightened around the gift bag. "You ungrateful little—" Security guards from the school rushed forward. "Sir, you need to leave now." James growled. "You think you're a queen now, huh? Because of that billionaire? You'll see. One day, you'll come crawling." Emma didn't flinch. "I'd rather crawl alone," she said coldly. "Then let the man who left us walk beside me." James was escorted away, muttering curses. Olivia's eyes were wide. "Who was that man?" Emma crouched, pulling her close. "Just someone who lost the right to call us his daughters." They walked home slowly. No words, just the echo of broken ties and a child's quiet heart trying to understand. But Emma didn't cry. She was too tired for tears, too strong for fear. The next morning, Emma stayed home. She couldn't face the stares at the hotel. Not today. Not after what happened at Olivia's school. She needed one day to breathe, to gather herself, to remind her heart it hadn't shattered, just bent. She stood by the window watching raindrops gather and race each other down the glass. Then her phone buzzed. One notification, then 5, then 10. She opened her messages, and her entire world tilted. Breaking. Emma Davis's tragic secret. Father reveals her mother was an escort. The shame she tried to bury now threatens her billionaire fairy tale. There were quotes, lies, accusations, words like illegitimate, scandal, and manipulative. The article was venom, and her father had poured every drop. Her legs gave out. She sank to the floor, gasping for air. Olivia rushed from the kitchen. "Emma! Emma!" Emma couldn't speak. Her hands shook. Her chest heaved. The pain wasn't just in the article. It was in the betrayal. He had gone too far. Hours later, Ethan found her still sitting on the floor, the article open beside her. He knelt silently and pulled her into his arms. "I should have seen this coming," she whispered. "I should have known he would do anything." Ethan clenched his jaw. This is evil." She pulled back slowly. "I think I need to end this." Ethan frowned. "And what?" Emma wiped her eyes. "Us." His face froze. She looked down. "The more I rise, the more they try to pull me down. Now Olivia's suffering. You're under pressure. The board is watching. Maybe it's easier if I disappear." Ethan shook his head. "Don't say that. Don't even think it." Tears ran down her cheeks. "I didn't ask for this attention. I just wanted peace." Ethan took her hand. "You are not a scandal. You are strength. And I won't let the world rewrite your story." She looked into his eyes, searching for doubt. There was none. Only fire. Only love. But far away, in Vanessa's luxury suite, she scrolled through the chaos online and smiled. "She's cracking," she said. James sat with a drink in hand. "She'll break soon." Vanessa raised her glass. "To the fall of Cinderella." But outside their glass tower of lies, something was rising in silence. Emma's resolve. And the truth. The lights were harsh. The cameras were many. Ethan Cole stood at the podium, dressed in a simple black suit, his expression unreadable. Behind him a banner read, "Cole Estates, Press Briefing." But this wasn't about real estate. This was about Emma. The room was packed. Journalists leaned forward, pens ready. Social media live streams were rolling. Headlines were waiting to be written. Ethan adjusted the mic and spoke. No business should be forced to defend a woman's dignity. A murmur rippled through the room. But today I'm not speaking as a CEO. I'm speaking as a man who has watched someone fight harder than anyone should ever have to. Emma Davis is not a liar. She is not a manipulator. She is not ashamed of where she came from. And neither am I. Cameras clicked furiously. She worked when others mocked. She rose when others doubted. And while the world judged her for walking through mud, they forgot something important. He looked straight into the camera. Mud grows flowers. Silence. Then a wave of applause. Not forced. Not polite. Real. Ethan's voice lowered. The people spreading lies about her, some of them even related to her, should be ashamed. You abandoned her. She didn't abandon you. The message was clear, direct. James, Vanessa, both called out without a single name mentioned. I stand by Emma, not because of what she looks like or where she works, but because of who she is. He stepped back. The press exploded with questions, but Ethan walked away, his message delivered. Emma sat in her tiny apartment, Olivia beside her, eyes wide as the live stream ended. Her hands covered her mouth. The man the world called cold, ruthless, unreachable, had just stood up for her in front of the whole country, and not as her savior, but as someone who saw her. Vanessa stood by the window staring at her phone. Her jaw was tight with frustration. He just made her untouchable, she whispered. James slammed his glass on the table. This isn't over, he growled. If we can't ruin her in public, we'll ruin her in private. Vanessa turned to him slowly. Maybe we should stop, James. This is going too far. But James shook his head, eyes burning with anger. No, I won't stop until her life is in pieces. She chose that billionaire over her own father. She deserves what's coming. Vanessa felt a cold ache in her chest. For the first time, she truly saw James, not just as a hurt man, but a bitter one. A man so angry he'd destroy his own daughter. And deep inside, Vanessa wished she had never let herself be part of this. It was Sunday morning. The sky was clear, but Emma's thoughts were cloudy. She had barely slept. The press conference had gone viral. She just wanted a normal day, a quiet breakfast, a walk with Olivia. But what she got was Vanessa Johnson at her doorstep. A soft knock. Emma opened the door halfway and froze. Vanessa stood there in a white blazer, designer sunglasses on her head, holding a brown envelope. No cameras, no entourage. Just her. What do you want? Emma asked coldly. Vanessa sighed. I'm not here to fight. Emma raised an eyebrow. I just came to say, I'm sorry. Emma blinked. Sorry? For splashing mud on me? For mocking me? Or for teaming up with my father to destroy my life? Vanessa stepped back a little. Guilt showed on her face. I was mean to you, she said quietly. Back then it felt good to laugh at someone who couldn't fight back. I didn't care how it made you feel. But now... She looked away, her voice shaking slightly. Now I understand what I did. Emma didn't move. Vanessa continued. I joined your father to hurt you. But his hatred... It's deeper than I ever imagined. It's not just anger. It's cruel. And I came here to warn you. Please be careful. Emma's eyes softened just for a moment, but her voice stayed calm and guarded. Why are you really here? Vanessa held out the brown envelope. This is proof. Everything your father and I planned. He wanted to release more lies. But I stopped. I walked away. Take this. Do whatever you want with it. Emma took the envelope slowly. Why are you giving this to me? Vanessa swallowed. Because I'm tired of being the villain. And because... Someone once told me mud can grow flowers. I want to see if it can clean people, too. She turned and walked away, heels clicking softly down the hallway. Emma stood there, stunned. Inside the envelope. Emails, screenshots, audio files. Every dirty plot. A map of betrayal, signed by her own blood. That night, Emma sat at the dining table with Ethan. She told him everything. What Vanessa said, what was in the envelope, all of it. When she finished, Ethan looked at her with pride in his eyes. You just took your power back. Emma shook her head gently. No, I'm not going to use it to hurt him. Ethan leaned in, curious. So what will you do? Emma looked at him. His calm, steady presence gave her strength. I'll use it to protect what matters, she said softly, because Emma wasn't looking for revenge. She was searching for peace. The next day, the sun was shining brightly. The school gates were wide open. Children laughed and ran to meet their waiting parents. But Emma was running late. Olivia was already waiting at the school gate, looking around for her sister to come pick her up. She had just come from a meeting with scholarship donors, finally getting the chance to speak to the board about growing the hospitality program. It was a moment she had worked hard for. But now, time wasn't on her side. She texted the school, running late. Please keep Olivia safe until I arrive. Emma Davis. But the message came too late. James Davis stood just outside the school fence, holding a shiny pink gift box and a wide, practiced smile. He looked clean-shaven, wore a new shirt, and had a friendly glint in his eye. Olivia! He called out sweetly, waving the gift. The little girl turned and squinted. You're the man from last time. He nodded. That's right, I'm your daddy. She hesitated. Emma said you're not family. James chuckled. That's because she's upset. But guess what? Today's your birthday surprise. Olivia blinked. It's not my birthday. It is now. He grinned. Come on. I've got cake, toys, and a big surprise waiting. Just for you. Olivia bit her lip. She looked back at the school building. James leaned down. Just a quick ride. We'll be back before Emma even knows. Don't you want a real gift for once? The gift box sparkled. The girl hesitated. Then slowly, she followed him. Emma arrived 20 minutes later, breathless. Sorry I'm late, she told the school secretary. I'm here for Olivia. The woman frowned. She left already. Emma froze. What? She said her daddy came for her. Emma's heart dropped. Call security, now. Across town, James pulled into a warehouse district, the kind of place where no child belonged. He opened the car door. We're not getting cake? Olivia asked quietly. James turned slowly. His face was no longer kind. No, he said coldly. You're going to help me teach your sister a lesson. Emma called Ethan, who activated his private security team. Within minutes, every traffic camera near the school was being reviewed. The car, The direction. The plates. They traced James's route like a bloodhound following a scent, and they found him. He was just about to pull Olivia from the car when black SUVs screeched into the lot. Guards poured out. James backed away, panicked. "Stay back!" But it was too late. He was tackled, cuffed, and pulled to the ground. Olivia ran to the arms of a security guard, crying. Emma arrived minutes later, her body shaking. She fell to her knees and wrapped her arms around Olivia, sobbing into her hair. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I was scared," Olivia whispered. "He lied to me." Emma held her tighter. "He'll never hurt you again." Later, James sat behind bars, charged not only for attempted kidnapping, but also for blackmail, conspiracy, and defamation. Vanessa's signed confession and the documents Emma had been given sealed the case. He would not walk free again. Not this time. And Emma? She returned home that night with Olivia sleeping on her shoulder, and Ethan holding her hand. No more fear. No more ghosts. Just the sound of healing. The prison was quiet. Gray walls, cold steel, the smell of regret in the air. James Davis sat alone in a small visitation room, eyes fixed on the table in front of him. No visitors, no calls, no reporters. Just silence, the kind of silence that speaks louder than chains. His lawyer had tried everything, but the evidence was airtight. Attempted abduction, blackmail, public defamation. Vanessa's signed statement sealed his fate. She had confessed everything after Ethan promised her immunity in exchange for the truth. James thought Emma might visit, but she never did. Not out of hatred, out of healing. She had let go. Back in the city, life had moved forward. Without him, Emma stood in front of a packed auditorium at the National Women in Leadership Conference, holding a microphone with both hands. A banner behind her read, "From cleaner to leader, Emma Davis shares her story." The crowd was silent as she spoke. 1 year ago, I was scrubbing hotel floors in silence. Today I help design guest experience models. But I didn't climb here because someone handed me a ladder. She paused, her voice calm but powerful. I climbed because I refused to let pain be my identity. Applause. Olivia sat in the front row, beaming. Ethan sat beside her, smiling with quiet pride. Emma's eyes glistened as she continued. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you become the ones who hurt you the most. But healing doesn't always come from punishment. It comes from choosing peace over revenge. She looked down at her sister, and from protecting what truly matters. That night, Emma stood barefoot on the rooftop of their apartment, the city lights blinking like stars below. She breathed in the cool night air, her heart finally light. Not because everything was perfect, but because she was free. Free from the past. Free from fear. Footsteps approached behind her. Ethan. He didn't speak at first, just stood beside her, watching the sky. Then he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Emma turned and gasped. He opened it slowly. Inside sat a delicate silver ring, crowned with a single teardrop diamond. Simple, quiet, and radiant, just like her. I didn't fall in love with the girl who rose from mud, Ethan began, voice steady. I fell in love with the woman who never stopped blooming, even when the world tried to bury her. Emma's eyes filled with tears. He knelt, on one knee, on that same rooftop where she once cried in silence. Emma Davis, he said, smiling gently. Will you marry me? Not as someone who saved you, but as someone who wants to walk beside you. For the rest of his life? She nodded, overwhelmed, heart trembling. Yes, she whispered, 1,000 times, yes. He stood, slipping the ring onto her finger, and when he kissed her, the city seemed to pause, as if even the wind knew. This love was built on ashes, but it stood taller than fire. The end. If you love this story, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more captivating stories like this one.